Hi guys, welcome back. Today's video I'm going to be attempting something I've never done before. I'm going to be trying to upcycle this into two modern looking bedside cabinets. So we've had this in our bedroom for quite a few years now and we haven't really utilised it other than filling it with junk. So as we're going to be whitewashing the whole room, I thought it was time to get rid of it and come up with something a bit more modern. So that is what we're going to try and do. So the first job that needed doing was to get the units outside, start breaking them down, removing the back panel, and that was just held in place with a load of pins. So the next thing was to cut the units down to their rough dimensions, and then I can fine tune it later on in the build. Well, I'm not sure whether they were on drugs or not when they built this cabinet. Now, these have been turned upside down, so they both had three top shelves held with shelf pins, and that was the same both sides. The lower shelf is held in with these screw type connectors, same as this one. Now, if you look at the two lower parts on both sides, then they look the same, but if you look at this side, that's also been fitted with the screw type connectors, and yet for some reason this hasn't. It's just got these little, or whatever they're called, pins or whatever, that hold the top shelf on. And not only that, it's a completely different size to the other one. So I don't know whether someone's altered it at some point, or it was just built by two different people, completely different. Answers on a postcard. So then I needed to remove the feet, and I knew this was going to be tricky because there was no screws, and I knew that there was a chance I would damage the bottom panel by removing them, but this didn't matter because, as you'll see later on in the build, I'm going to be altering the bottom panel anyway. Right, so to let you know where I'm going with this and where I'm up to at the moment, obviously I've got the four sides which have got the cheap plastic runners on. I'm going to be reusing those. Now, one had the top panel resting on these and was a different thickness, and the other one had one of these with the screw type connectors on. So I've taken out two of the other shelves which were in the upper unit, which were also fitted with the screw type fittings. So the one that had a different top on, I'm going to add one of the shelves. So both units will now have a piece that has the screw type fittings on, and the sides. As for the lower part, originally the lower parts, where you see these holes, the side panels fitted on through the bottom using these fixings, and that basically left a lip around the outside and across the front where the base stuck out further. I didn't really like that look anyway, but when I was trying to take the feet off, obviously they were glued and nailed in place, and I managed to destroy one completely, so I'm not able to use the original base. But what I have got is one of these shelves, which is the exact width I need it to be, and it just means that rather than the original way where it was screwed through the bottom, that's going to be sat on the side, and I'll have to work out another way to secure it. So I have one bottom piece, and for the other piece I've got the piece from the top of the unit, and this shelf, if I position it and mark round it, I can cut off the bits with the holes in and use that piece for the second base, and that will give me two complete bedside cabinets. And if you didn't understand any of that, it will make more sense as I start putting it back together. So now I can cut the base down to its final dimensions, and I'm literally creeping up on the cut lines so I can get it exactly the right size. So I'm discovering more problems the further along this job goes. So my original plan for the bottom piece, I was going to use one of these shelves which has got the screw type connections, and I was going to put some Dell marker pins in the 3 holes, and then hold it in position, mark it, drill the holes to fit these in, which is all fine and dandy. But then I suddenly thought of something else. When you put the bottom drawer in, obviously it doesn't matter at the front, but that doesn't give you the room to fit the bottom on. So that's another problem I've now got to find a solution for. So after some thought, I decided the best way to join the base to the side pieces was to use normal wood screws and make the holes a little bit bigger so I could insert some dowels to cover up the screws. So that's the method I went with. So I'm going to be using plenty of glue and then making sure I clean up any squeeze out. So now I can trim the side pieces flush with the top. So now it was time for the most monotonous part of the project, and a part I hate with a passion, sanding the original yellowed finish off. And this took absolutely ages. And you'll also notice, seeing that there's a huge dust cloud in my workshop right now, that some idiot, who shall remain nameless, didn't realise the dust box was full, so it was chucking the dust out everywhere. But because my glasses had a layer of dust on it, I didn't notice until it was too late. Then I could run the trim router over it and just round over any edges that needed rounding over. So the drawer fronts had a Roman ogee profile around the outside, which I didn't like, so I decided to cut a straight chamfer on all the sides just to make it look a bit more modern. Then, because the bottom two drawers wouldn't fit on, because I'd raised the height of the base, I then had to trim the two bottom drawers down in size just so they would fit. So I'm going to be using this Rust-Oleum chalky finish furniture paint, and it reckons you don't need no primer or sanding or anything. So, never used it before, so let's see what it's like. So I'm going to be trying something different that I've not done before. I've seen it on other videos. In fact, Carl over at Carl Pope Woodcraft done it recently on some bedside tables, and it involves brushing it on and then wiping the excess off with a rag, and then you get kind of a washed out effect where you can still see the grain. Now, normally you would water the paint down, but I couldn't be bothered to decant the paint into a separate container and then water it down, so I'm just literally taking it straight out of the tin and then buffing it off with a rag, and although it doesn't show very well on camera, the grain does show through and it looks really nice. I just wish you could see what I see, but you'll have to take my word for that. So there was two choices when it came to painting the drawer handles. I could either do them the same colour as the units or paint them black. So I consulted my better half and she suggested doing them the same colour, and I suggested that maybe the black would be a nice contrast against the grey. So in the end we decided with black, and we're both really happy with it. Right, well there you go then guys. I don't know about you lot, but I'm really happy with the way they turned out. I think they look a lot more modern and rustic, and once the bedroom's decorated, they're going to look great. So as always, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Share with your friends. Subscribe for more weekly woodworking videos, and until then, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers for watching guys.